Right, peace everyone. So let's talk about the Sunnah. Are you aware that the word Sunnah does not occur in the Quran even one time in reference to Prophet Muhammad? The word Sunnah appears around 16 times throughout the Quran. And what's absolutely remarkable is that not even once is it connected to the messengers. No Sunnah of Muhammad, no Sunnat Nabi, no Sunnat Rasul. It simply just does not exist. Not once. Every occurrence is connected directly to God's Sunnah, Sunnatullah. Here's some references, and there are many, many more references throughout the Quran. As you can see, very, very clearly, every single reference is speaking about God's established way, God's system, God's Sunnah, not Muhammad's, not Abraham's, not Moses, God's. You need to think about that for a second, because the phrase Sunnah of Muhammad is one of the most common expressions in Islam. Yet it never appears in the Quran, not even once. So let me ask you a very simple question. If the Quran never speaks about the Sunnah of Muhammad, then where did we get this idea from? Follow the Sunnah of Muhammad. That Muhammad's personal habits, customs, and reported sayings became a source of religious guidance and laws alongside God's book. Imitate him in every aspect of your life and take legislations for the religion that God never authorized. Firstly, it must be known that what people are actually following are reports compiled centuries later and merely attributed to him, which FYI cannot be proven with certainty, but that's a broader discussion for another day. Now, you'll immediately respond, but God says, Atiullah, Atiur Rasul, obey God and obey the messenger. Oh yes, 100% he does. But let's ask the obvious question. What exactly does obeying the messenger mean? And what exactly was Muhammad sent with? And the Quran answers this exact question. So, chapter 3 verse 20, your sole mission is to deliver the message. فَإِنَّمَا. Chapter 5 verse 99, the sole duty of the messenger is to deliver the message. Chapter 16 verse 82, your sole mission is the clear delivery, and many more other verses. Now you'll notice the pattern. His sole duty was to deliver the message. What does sole or only mean? You have to answer this question. And furthermore, are you aware that Muhammad was not allowed to legislate himself? Chapter 69 verse 44 to 45. Had he uttered any other teachings, we would have punished him. Now let's hear from Muhammad himself. Chapter 46 verse 9. I only follow what is revealed to me. Again, chapter 10 verse 15. I only follow what is revealed to me. Now look carefully at how the Quran presents Muhammad. Here's some verses, take your time and go through them. As you can see, not as an independent source of religious legislation, not as someone with divine powers, not as someone people are commanded to imitate in every aspect of life. Rather, a human messenger, guided by God, dependent upon revelation, whose sole duty was to faithfully deliver God's message. So if Muhammad only followed revelation, and his sole duty was to deliver revelation, then what exactly are we obeying when God says, obey the messenger? We obeying the message he was sent with, the Quran. Now what happened to the Jews? They had their book, didn't they? But they went and upheld another source, their Talmud and scholars' authorities. And that's just their version of today's Hadith. Now here's something I find absolutely fascinating. When the Quran says dhikr, they claim it means Hadith. But here let's take a look at what the Quran says. Chapter 38 verse 1. Sad wal Qur'ani dhi dhikr. What does the mean? It means containing. By the Quran containing the dhikr. Then they say hikmah means hadith. Nope, wrong again. In chapter 17, after listing command after command directly from the Quran, the previous verses, God concludes with verse 39 stating, this is some of the hikmah inspired to you by your Lord. Again, the hikmah is contained within the Quran, and of course whatever he bestows upon a person. But when God repeatedly says hadith, suddenly it doesn't mean hadith. Get out of here. You got to read these carefully. Here you go, on an absolute silver platter. chapter 31, verse 6. By the way, they love to use this verse to try and justify their false prohibition on music. Ironically, it actually condemns their own hadith. Chapter 31, verse 6. Among the people, there are those who uphold lahwa hadith, baseless hadith, and thus divert others from the path of God without knowledge. Then chapter 45, verse 6 to 7. These are God's revelations that we recite to you truthfully. In which hadith other than God and His revelations do they then believe? Woe to every fabricator guilty. I'd love to read and continue to verse 11, but you can do that in your own time. Now we go to chapter 77, verse 49 to 50. Woe on that day to the rejectors. Which hadith after this will they believe? The Quran speaks for itself. God repeatedly commands us to follow His revelation, His book, His guidance, His sunnah, not ever once the Sunnah of Muhammad. What they've done is they've taken Sunnatullah and they've replaced it with Sunnat Muhammad. Mark my words, Muhammad will disown his idolizers on the day of judgment. What is his statement on that day? Chapter 25, verse 30. My people had deserted this Quran. So I'll leave you with one simple challenge. Produce a single verse, just one, where God commands believers to follow the Sunnah of Muhammad, not a hadith, not a scholar, not tradition, from the Quran. If you can produce it, I'll happily reconsider my position. If you can't, then perhaps it's time to reconsider yours. Now, although I'm calling back to uphold the Quran alone, I'm not advocating for what's known today as Quranism, because that is a totally nonsensical position. There is a greater truth, which, by the way, they are hiding from you and will stop at nothing to prevent this from coming out to the masses. Because when it does, they lose their fake authority and control over the religion. God didn't intend for His religion to be gate-kept by scholars. Leaving the false blasphemous hadith is just the first step to this greater truth. But again, that's a topic for another day. The first step is to break these idols of today. And finally, the truth is coming out. The standard narrative is being exposed. It's just a matter of time. It's now a matter of whether you board that train or not. This is a theological and ideological war between God's established religion versus their established traditions. Peace.